The story of this movie takes place on New Year's Eve at the same time as fireworks. Everyone is celebrating and kicking to replace the old year with the new year. Simultaneously with the sound of firecrackers, shots are fired, and people are shot. In this shooting, a large number of people are killed, which causes chaos in the crowd. Eleanor enters the bar as a local security cop and tries to resolve the dispute between the salesman and the customer. Apparently, this is a recurring problem during her work. In wireless contact with all units, they are asked to go to the accident site immediately. She leaves the bar with stress and quickly goes to the desired building. Police wirelessly informed all units that 25 victims and 17 cases had been confirmed. Eleanor goes to the home of one of the victims, whose teenage son has been shot by a sniper, and tries to calm them down. She turns off the lights and asks the family's mother to care for the other children. They find the shooting place at the crime scene with the help of a thermal laser. A huge explosion occurs there. Eleanor rushes to the building, where she tries to use her phone camera and the worker to film a scene of figures exiting the building, as there may be a shot from the killer between them. After the arrival of the police forces, she navigates more than 17 floors with them to reach the explosion scene. She barely reaches the entrance door without a mask and goes inside the house after the arrival of the police and extinguishing the fire from the firemen. She tries to release herself into the open air to breathe easily again, but seems to be thrown from the building. She must be suffering from not reaching her brain, but now she has better rescuers. She finds out from the words that the owner of this unit has never been based in this house and has been renting this unit. The killer used this house without permission and quite skillfully took the life 29. He used the explosion to destroy all the evidence against him, which apparently succeeded, leaving the police force completely confused. On the way back from the scene, Eleanor reprimands her for disobeying orders and asks her not to disobey orders. At the police department, the chief introduces the Lamarck group to all the forces and explains how he and the FBI will help them solve the case. He is a professional workshop worker. With Lamarck's explanation, she realizes that he killed 29 people, and the explosion left no trace of himself. Given the clues, he explains that they should return to looking for a normal person who has nothing to do with the terrorists and only intends to make some character out of these murders. According to Lamarck, he uses this explosion because he doesn't want to be tracked down and catches, and it was a very professional and accurate shot trained by someone. He even seeks to find the person who sold the gun to this killer. He wants all teams to use all the data and information, but he won't confirm which ones because there is no evidence. Eleanor is a low-level agent who serves drinks for other people and can only hear these comments. Her colleague considers this an international assassin who seeks to eliminate high-ranking people. Eleanor's opinion is completely against him because he has been shooting people at random and considers his intention just for fun. The comments attract Lamarck's attention and ask her to explain her theory. Eleanor explains that this person has committed this mass murder to achieve peace and kills them on their journey. This person behaves like someone eating his favorite food and tells Lamarck that he has killed 29 people, the number of people he feels full until he is hungry again. According to Eleanor, he will kill again. Lamarck asks the agent's name, completely impressed by her talents, and then leaves. All the media evaluate this incident, and each gives their opinion. Eleanor returns home, and apparently, she lives alone and is also involved in these mental disorders. He swims to relieve himself while his mind is completely occupied with the incident. The next day, in the first morning phone call, he is informed that Lamarck is waiting for an appointment with him, which makes him rush there. Lamarck asks his high-ranking colleague to close all entertainment and commercial centers for a while after this incident because there is a possibility of a similar incident. He does not agree to this request and considers it beyond his authority. He asks Lamarck to arrest this person without shutting down the city. Lamarck promises to arrest him soon. After his colleague Lamarck leaves, he asks Eleanor to cooperate in this project as a special agent because she is intelligent and can predict the movements of this killer due to her behavioral disorders. Lamarck understands Eleanor's character well, which surprises him. He introduces Mackenzie and explains that he is a professional workshop and that his presence is necessary when they get close to this killer. Lamarck explains that, for now, he only trusts these two people and wants to solve this case only with the help of smart and efficient people. He asks them not to spoil this opportunity and to use their best. Before arriving at the meeting, Lamarck relays his experience to Eleanor. They talk about surveillance cameras and unseen places in the camera footage. Mackenzie is reciting to the group the people who have visited the unit while Eleanor is taking notes. According to one of the members of his group, he used a grenade for the explosion. The gun he used is also old, so it needs to be registered in the weapons database, and it is almost impossible to trace this gun model. Lamarck tries to prevent the involvement of the counterterrorism unit and other groups in his case, but this is impossible, and they will get their information from this case. This situation upsets Lamarck because it is shown that the base does not trust his team and tries to interfere with his work. They go together to a room where the corpses are arranged. The bullets carefully hit the victim's head, chest, neck, and body, showing that he is a flawless and trained shooter. With this amount of casualties, they estimate the gender of the assailant to be male. Considering the killer's accurate shot, Lamarck concludes that he had no intention of torturing his victims and just bought them a one-way ticket to Narnia with one accurate shot. No pattern can be seen among the victims. There are both old and young people among the victims. One of the agents informs them that they have found the killer, and to their surprise, they quickly go to the accident scene. Frank, who is in charge of counterterrorism, explains to Lamarck that they had found a suspect who refused to cooperate with the residents when they interrogated them, locked himself in a room, and threatened to kill all the agents. Frank's information shows he is a perfect match for the killer they are looking for, but Lamarck wants to ensure his companion is armed. Frank asks Lamarck not to interfere with the mission and leave it to the counterterrorism team. Eventually, they encounter a teenager who throws himself out of a window while confronting the police and is killed. Lamarck seeks to discover the teenager's gun, but Frank has no answer to give him. It is a complete disgrace that Lamarck has to answer to higher authorities. They were trying to show society they were protecting them from this serial killer by carrying out this operation, but they mistakenly killed a depressed Arab teenager. His crime was playing loudly, which made the officers suspicious. Mackenzie has the three painters who have recently painted the house ready for questioning, reciting information from each. The only people who visited this house during this time were these people. Lamarck questions their whereabouts at the time of the explosion. Each proves that they have spent time at family parties or alone at home and have no knowledge of this happening. Lamarck examines the information about these three people and hears the opinions of each. He asks Eleanor to take the baby out of the room to continue the interrogation. Eleanor is a little suspicious of this man's actions but obeys Lamarck's order. A little later, Eleanor reviews the photos and videos from the night. She receives a prototype of the sanitation experiments at the scene to deliver to Lamarck. He is rambling, which makes Eleanor refuse to hand over the folder. Hours later, Lamarck finds the folder with Eleanor. Eleanor reviewed the data and concluded that with the low iron in the sample, the lab data indicated that the killer had a meat and protein deficiency. He explains that he has been looking for this confidential information for an hour. He blames Eleanor and accuses her of not having enough knowledge to prove this information. After this incident and returning home, Lamarck apologizes to Eleanor for his behavior. He invites her to dinner to talk more about this project. He takes Eleanor home, and they have dinner with Lamarck's husband. They talk to each other about the current wrong policies of their country. After dinner, Lamarck talks to her about Eleanor's history. Apparently, she was treated by a therapist for very severe depression, aggression, and addiction. She has suffered a lot, and after treatment, she came to this city to be safe from herself because she considers her past personality to be completely similar to the current killer of this case. Lamarck asks her to continue solving the case if she is removed from the case so that both of them can calm down and tries to comfort Eleanor. She swims to calm her thoughts. In the city center mall, after a customer reported missing clothes, the security team went to the bathroom to stop the suspicious man. They don't find anyone. He chooses some leftover food for himself but is stopped by the security team. Moments later, the sound of gunshots causes chaos. Eleanor is conversing with a gun dealer about old guns when she realizes something bad has happened in one of the city's shopping malls and immediately goes there. After seeing the dead, she goes to the CCTV room. Lamarck gives the approximate information of the assailant to the news. He is a tall and white man, about 35 years old. They return to the bathroom to find his shirt. Eleanor realizes he didn't come there to kill but to feed himself, get clothes, and wash. Finally, with the intervention of his security team, he killed many people and escaped. Eleanor's guess is correct, and his body lacks iron because he is a vegetarian. The pictures show that he kills everyone in cold blood and kills many police officers by placing grenades. According to Lamarck, he is a unique shooter, and the gun is a part of his body. Mackenzie reports that the vehicle has unloaded the debris. Lamarck brings her along with Mackenzie to find the killer's DNA through his shirt. Now Lamarck has to answer to many of its managers. They go to the garbage collection and look for the needle in the haystack. The meaning of this sentence narrates the difficulty of finding the shirt among all the garbage. A little later, he is interrogated at the Landmark office, where they ask him not to report this incident on television. By spreading these images, he wants to find the person related to the killer. Much to Lamarck's delight, they return with the shirt as they can identify the killer's DNA.
A Nobel for the worst fucking idea.
Hearing the report of the killer's shoes, Eleanor notices traces of paint and wood chips on his shoes. This makes Eleanor directly investigate the case of one of the painters. Further, the shirt report shows that the killer suffered from severe trauma to the head. After a suspicious person calls the police, they go with the team to the track location to find the suspicious person. On the way, Eleanor tells Lamarck that this is a childish distraction and that she is sure that the killer, in this case, is not looking for threats and revenge. Lamarck also agrees with him, but they must arrest this suspect because the order has been summoned from above, and the pressure is high. After the suspicious car goes to the desired location, they try to silently remove all the people from the shop. After they notice the presence of the police in the shop, there is a shooting, and they are killed. After getting a confession from the survivor, they realize that they only did this to gain fame on social media. This is another failure for Lamarck. With these events, Lamarck and Eleanor are completely removed from the case and are absolved of responsibility. Eleanor's suspension is because her mental health and addictions file is in the hands of the FBI, and they do not approve of her eligibility to remain on the case. At night, Lamarck is drinking to relieve his pain. Not finding this killer has bothered him a lot and aggravated his heart disease. His husband is worried about this and brings him back home. Eleanor also continues to drink and returns home, upset that the case remains incomplete. She is thinking of suicide because she even lost his current job with this incident. When she looks at the colors of his bathroom ceiling, she realizes the truth, making her go to the suspicious painter's house. She found out that Ramsey had given the keys to someone else to do the cleaning in the middle of the house repairs, but he refused to say his name during the interrogation. He tries to refuse to tell, but his angry wife intervenes and asks him to tell the truth. At dawn, Lamarck is also added to listen to Ramsey's confession. He explains that 2 years ago, to finish his work, he had been working with an illegal company whose task was to find illegal workers with a very low average wage. He has used Dean in some projects to increase his profit. He considers the character of the killer to be a tall, quiet man who worked as many as 2 people without consuming any meat. He used to work in the slaughterhouse downtown many years ago, and that's why he's now a vegetarian, because he hates meat. Ramsey considers the reason for hiding this information to protect his family's life from this murderer. Ramsey cooperates so that they paint the killer's face with the help of a face painter. Lamarck and Eleanor go to the slaughterhouse, looking for someone to give them new information about the killer. Ramona, who worked with him in 1998, gives them additional information, and the killer's true identity is finally revealed. Dean Posse is his full name. Reading his files, Eleanor learns that his father, a shooting instructor, trained him. They rush to the Posse family home. Before Dean arrives, she plans to call for backup, but Lamarck dissuades her so they can have more time to investigate the house. Lamarck fears that they have again investigated the wrong target. After spotting the Posse family's car, Lamarck walks over to the vehicle and encounters Dean's mother, who is aware of the recent events. Mrs. Posey explains that she last saw her son when the Pandorami spread. She explains that as a child, his father shot him in the head in an accident, and after Dean recovered, he was no longer a peaceful child, and his entire being was filled with hatred. He is sensitive to sunlight and loud noises and prefers solitude. She explains that after this incident, his father trains him to join the army, but in the end, they do not accept him because of his mental disability. Eleanor notices that Dean's mother is suspicious and looks around. Dean shoots Lamarck, and he falls to the ground. Dean's mother asks her not to move, or she will be shot too. His mother is looking for a solution to make her son suffer less and asks Eleanor for help. According to Eleanor, she confiscates their gun and phone and goes to the cabin where Dean is. She asks Dean to either go with them to the Special People's Prison or go with her to the afterlife. He leaves the hut a little later and walks slowly towards the house. After settling in at home, Eleanor tries to sympathize with him by talking to him. Dean is very smart and asks her not to talk to him out of pity. He explains how humans have annoyed him by making too much noise and light. He compares living in this world to a prison and considers humans as many enslaved people to earn money. Eleanor tries to convince him to start over, but Dean believes that his train has already left and it's too late for him. Dean asks Eleanor to shoot him in the head after sleeping in his mother's arms to help calm him down. A police patrol unit comes to the house due to the sound of gunshots, causing Dean to take her to the warehouse where she is imprisoned.
Someone must have heard the shots! I'm not wired!
He kills the agents. A little later, a large number of police forces surround him. Apparently, he plans to make another explosion so that he can escape. Eleanor tries to dissuade him from this work with her words because he is also tired of this work. Eleanor asks him to open her arms so that she can speak for him and stop Dean from being killed. She tries her best to prevent the explosion, but in the end, he blows everyone up. Eleanor wounds him, but he refuses to kill and runs away. Finally, she frees herself and goes to the police force. Police forces search for Dean for hours and finally find him exhausted and injured. Before he can shoot anyone, all the forces shoot him, and the killer is finally punished for his actions. Landmark is killed, and the only survivor is Eleanor. After this incident, Eleanor ensures that after Landmark's death, he is awarded a Medal of Bravery, and all his rights are transferred to his husband. She will also work as a special agent. Eleanor and Landmark will be relieved now that this case is solved. Thank you for watching. Subscribe us for more videos.